and we'll continue on in verse 2 of Colossians 4. Here's how you do it. Continue steadfastly in prayer. Be watchful in it with thanksgiving. Then Paul says, at the same time, pray also for us, that God may open to us a door for the word to declare the mystery of Christ, on account of which I am in prison, that I may make it clear, which is how I ought to speak. And that's just a little reminder that Paul is writing this epistle from prison. And he writes many epistles from a prison at different times when he's arrested and put in jail. And he will begin each of those with joy and thanksgiving and the call to pray. There's simply no way around this in Scripture. Prayer is the lifeblood of your relationship with Jesus. That's it. And no, everyone knows this. The most books written about God involve prayer. Go to your bookstore, or the few that exist, or go to places where you buy books, wherever it may be, and you'll just see Christian living, prayer, 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 prayer. Why are there so many? It's because we go, I don't know how. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. The disciples said, Jesus, teach us how to pray. There's so many helps there, but Paul says, it is the lifeblood. It is the oil in your engine. What happens when your engine runs out of oil? Not good things. If your check engine light is on, there's a very good chance you're low on oil. And prayer is the lifeblood. How do you know your check engine light is on? Let me throw out a couple examples, and you don't have to shout out, that's me. But we'll go with this. Here's how you know your check engine light is on when you're trying to follow Christ. You have a very short fuse with people. Everyone just look down. You feel entitled, that the world owes you something. You feel like you're envious, perhaps jealous over what other people have and you don't have. How come they have that when I serve more than they do? Why do good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to me? It's hard for you to see the good in things or in people, whatever it may be, but you have a very easy time dwelling on the bad. Perhaps one of the biggest signs is this: you're constantly chasing happiness, but you have the hardest time resting in the joy of the Lord. Just let that soak a little bit. Paul writes that steadfast prayer, which means daily, persistent prayer, will put you on the lookout for thankfulness. It basically gives you a course correction in your life when you wake up in the morning and you spend that time with God alone in prayer. It helps you see through the proper lens. It changes your perspective on life completely, and you begin to see each day as a gift as opposed to each day as an obligation to serve you. Think about it. In this world, there are some people who went to bed last night with the full intention of waking up and having a great day, and when the sun rose, they didn't. But you perhaps didn't even give it a thought, that your eyes opened this morning and you were taking breaths. It's even in that little bit that God ordained and saw fit that you would have one more day, that most people take for granted. I know I do. I woke up this morning to a bathtub that's not draining water, and I cursed it. And said, why me, Lord? Completely forgetting the fact that I got to get out of bed this morning. So be thankful. Congratulations. You did it. You opened your eyes. And the fact that God gave you that should be a great perspective. But sometimes we're just not thankful. And we don't pray, and we don't even let God know that, how thankful we are for even just the little things. There's a story of a mother and a daughter, and the mother is trying to teach her daughter thankfulness and gratefulness, and the daughter was just having a hard time with this because and the mother said, eat your food. No, I don't want to. Put these clothes on. No, I don't like wearing that. And the mother finally just had enough, and she said, you should be so thankful that you have clothes to put on your back, food to put in your stomach, and a roof over your head. Do you realize there are children all across the world who don't have that? You should be praying to God and being thankful. And the daughter said, no, they should be praying because they don't have any of that. And now we might go, oh, hold me back from that child. But it's kind of an example of these little things that we take for granted in our attitude and the way we approach things. And Paul's closing words is he's saying, be steadfast in prayer because it'll put you on the lookout for things you can be thankful for. It will remind you of those things. It will give you the proper attitude. And remember, Paul has every reason to complain. He is serving Jesus with the gospel and continually being arrested for it. What's the worst that you get in this country when you share Jesus with someone? The worst you get is someone says, don't share that with me, I don't believe. And you go, oh, I'm persecuted. In this context, following Jesus results in possible prison or at worst, beheaded. And Paul says, be steadfast in prayer. Be joyful. On the lookout for Thanksgiving. I mean, I get mad when Dunkin' Donuts made smaller donuts. My life is so good. And I'll find things to complain about. Don't you worry about that. I bet you can relate as well. So I need to be on the lookout for things to be joyful in. And that is why Paul begins his letter with thanksgiving.